We are lonelier than ever these days. We feel like we can't relate to other people. We feel invisible to other people, like no one really sees who we are. But I think worst of all is we feel like we don't really know ourselves. We feel like we can't see who we really are. And I think the result of this is that we spend so much of our time passively letting our life slip by. We're too frightened to go out and make new relationships, or we just don't even know how. We're too frightened to go out into the dating world, which is understandable. But the result is we are letting our lives just slip by while we wait at home or going through our routines day to day that we're not really very satisfied with. We're letting our lives slip by because we are not confident enough to assert who we are or to find out who we really are deep down inside. Why is that? When an animal is born, the parents usually stick around and make sure that that animal is raised to be ready to take on the world on their own. In today's culture, it's the exact opposite. Young men are being raised to not have the confidence to go out and live their lives, to not know how to do this. And in fact, most of what we're taught today is the exact opposite of what we need to hear and what we need to be taught in order to have the confidence to go out and live our lives. We are being told that we're evil, that we don't belong in the world, and that we don't deserve the life that we have. Our attempts to find love and romance are considered predatory. We're told that, flirting with women is, inappropriate or even rude, and asking her out is like a huge burden on her. So all the good men out there are being raised to think, do not pursue love or romance. And for a man to desire sex with a woman is considered, dirty, shameful, degrading. Male pride is considered to be, a man not asking for help, being aggressive, working really hard at something that doesn't really matter, and boasting about it to everyone else, thinking that that gives him some kind of self-worth. So with this idea of what it means to have pride, men are completely discouraged from having any kind of pride in themselves or what they do. Because of course, to them, what they've been taught is that pride is a terrible, negative thing. Mansplaining is this idea that you shouldn't show certainty around women. And if you do show certainty around a woman, then you're effectively taking her ability to think away. You're basically saying that she can't come to her own conclusions. So this is effectively telling men, do not show certainty. Do not think that you're certain. Who are you to know? And the effect is, we just don't really have certainty anymore. So what we're left is, we're stuck when it comes to romance, when it comes to dating. We feel like there's no avenue left open to us because we're shamed on any attempt that we make. We have no pride because we're told having pride is this, wicked, aggressive, horrible thing for a man to have. And we're told we can't even be certain about anything. Not to show certainty about ourselves, about what we know, and certainly not to assert that in front of other people. And this is why we feel out of touch with ourselves, is because we're taught not to be anything and not to do anything. We can't make friends with other people because we're so afraid to put ourselves out there because we've been condemned for doing so our whole lives. We're afraid to talk about our feelings and talk about what we want out of life because every single time we do, we're put down for it, we're ashamed. I can't tell you how many times I've tried to talk about this with other people my age, and every single time, it's immediate hostility, immediate aggression, immediate defensiveness of basically, who are you to have problems? Who are you to complain? Who are you to, take away the spotlight from women and their problems? You can't have problems because they have problems, so shut up. That's what I've been met with every single time I've tried to talk about this. So it's very ironic that a lot of people complain that men don't talk about their feelings, but the second they do, they're shamed for it. And this is why we don't want to get out into the world and make new friends or meet new women is because we're afraid. It's because we've been condemned all our lives every time we try to open up. And I think the ultimate result of how we've been raised is that we're left feeling like we have no right to the space that we occupy. And you can really see it in a lot of the ways men move, the way they sit, the way they move about, the way they carry themselves. They try to be small, meek, not take up too much space. They be sure to keep their legs close together, and they feel uncomfortable existing. And it's because they've basically been told they have no right to occupy the space that they do. We are so shy. We're afraid to have convictions, afraid to, have our beliefs and have, to fight for those beliefs, to stand up for them. And I think ultimately what that means is we're afraid to live our lives. And that's why we have that feeling of it just passing by while we sit by and not really know what to do about it. We have this block and we don't know how to get over it. And that block within us came from how we were raised, how we're treated. I've met many young men who were terrified to get out into the dating world. They were into their late 20s or sometimes even in their 30s, and they're still virgins because they're just scared to get out into the dating world because so many of their friends have ended up in horrible, crippling, abusive relationships. They've heard it over and over again of how these young men would get into horribly abusive relationships or situations and would have really no self-assertion to defend themselves. There was nothing in them to say, I won't allow myself to be treated this way. And because of it, for years, they would just be treated like dirt. And this has led to many young men being scared to get out there because they don't feel like they have the right to stand up for who they are, to say, no, I won't be treated like dog shit. I won't let you do that to me. We feel like we don't have the right to stand up for ourselves. The culture is trying to get us to feel unworthy of our own lives. So the solution is self-assertion. It's the idea that you have the right to your own life and that you have the right to live it. See, our culture is trying to get you to feel like you are unworthy of the life that you have. You should feel like a predator or a creep for trying to pursue love. You should feel like an asshole for being proud. And you should feel like you're a jerk for standing up for yourself. And it's this feeling that our culture is trying to get us to feel. It's shame. Our culture is trying to make us feel ashamed for being ourselves and for being men. And it's this feeling that you need to overcome if you want to recapture that zest for life that you used to have when you were a child, that eagerness to get up, to get out and explore the world and live your life. You need to get the confidence to get out there and start living your life again. And in order to get that, you need to have the feeling that you have the right to assert who you are in the world. And that is self-assertion. So what is self-assertion? Normally when we think of self-assertion, we think of, someone who's very aggressive, someone who goes out and, goes after what they want, sometimes even trampling over other people and what they want just to get what they want. They assert who they are at the expense of other people. And this is not at all what self-assertion really is. It's not about being an asshole. It's not about trampling over others. Self-assertion means the willingness to stand up for yourself, to be who you are openly, and to treat yourself with respect in all human encounters. To have self-assertion means to have the confidence to get out there and start living your life. It's to believe that you deserve the life that you have the right to it. By not having self-assertion, you're not going to be getting out into the world and you're not going to be meeting anyone. And even if you do meet someone, you're not going to present yourself well. You'll be shy. You'll be selling yourself short. You won't present yourself with pride. And the result is you'll feel invisible and alone. But by seeing yourself as worthy of life, worthy of putting yourself out there, you'll see a dramatic change in your life. You'll pursue what you want in life, and by getting out there, you'll meet people, and you'll open yourself up to them and present yourself with pride. So how do you become more self-assertive? Well, I want to tell you about my sentence completion challenge. Sentence completion is a technique that's been utilized in the psychological sphere for a long time. Basically, you'll write down the beginnings of a sentence that I'll be giving you, and you'll complete those sentences on your own, using your own words and your own thoughts. It's to get you to answer a question that will get you thinking in a certain direction. You'll answer it in whatever way comes to your mind and however many times you need to answer it. The purpose of this is to get you thinking about what you're missing in your life and what you could be gaining in your life if you did have more self-assertion, if you did assert who you are more often. And ultimately, you'll become more energized to start doing these kinds of things in your own life. Self-assertiveness to me means, and then you'll write something like, self-assertiveness to me means being a jerk, walking all over people, or, getting what I want. Whatever comes to your mind, you're going to complete that sentence. So, day 1, self-assertiveness to me means, if I lived 5% more self-assertively today, if someone told me my wants were important, if I had the confidence to treat my wants as important. That's just on day 1. I have multiple days written out in my description. You should definitely give this a try. Each day, write these out. Fill out those sentences, complete them on your own with your own words, with your own thoughts, multiple ways, multiple different times. The purpose of this is to get you thinking about, if I were only 5% more assertive in my day, what would my day look like? How different would that be? What would I be getting that I'm not getting right now? Check those out in the description below and definitely give it a try. Because it's little things like this that are what change our lives. We start thinking about something. We start questioning one accepted premise that we have, that we, don't have the right to live the life that we have, that we shouldn't be too assertive. And we start thinking about it, and we start questioning it, and start seeing about how much damage this view is having on our lives. And then every little step, each day, we can see ways that we can change that. Actually, that person was pretty rude to me. I'll just express to them, I don't appreciate that. I will assert my feelings, not in a rude way, but just telling it as a matter of fact. I don't really appreciate the way you have spoken to me. Or if our girlfriend is treating us like dog shit, not considering us, not considering our feelings, not considering our thoughts, just treating us however way she wishes, having the self-assertion to say, I won't let you speak to me that way, and I'm going to leave if you continue. And if she does, actually leaving. Because it's about seeing your life and your time and what you do as important, as being important enough to fight for, to stand up for, and say, no, I won't waste my life with someone who doesn't appreciate me. That's what self-assertiveness gives you, is it gives you your life. It gives you control over your life, and it gives you the confidence to go out and live your life. It's a small step, but it's beginning to a new life. Every big change has to start small, and this challenge is a good way to start getting the confidence to get yourself out there and start meeting people. Something I've been working on is a guide to introspection. It's incredibly valuable. It'll help you learn the skill of knowing who you are, knowing your emotions, knowing your wants, and being able to manage those emotions that you have all the time. I have in the description below a free download, which is the intro to that guide. It gives you just a little taste of what it is that my guide has to offer. I'm still working on it, and when you download the free intro, you will be getting added to my email list, which I can then notify you when that guide is done. Please check it out. It's free in the description below. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope this sentence completion challenge can help you get a little bit more self-assertiveness in your life, or at least start thinking about the ways in which we view our own place in our own lives and how the culture treats us. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe to the channel if you like it, and I definitely hope to see you next time. Thank you very much.